Texas veterans and others, are you interested in figuring out how to get into a home with basically no money out of pocket? Now, you'll need a little bit, but that's just to get inspections and a few other minor items. But you can get into a house with literally $0 out of pocket at the closing table. Let's learn how. In this video, we're going to review all the different options that are available to our Texas veterans, because Texas, let's face it, has some of the best options for our United States veterans when it comes to buying a house. They get huge breaks, depending on disability level and different things. But just being a veteran and making it to Texas is a fantastic plan. If you're checking on states, especially if you're 100% disabled, unparalleled options here, right? The biggest setback in Texas is our property taxes, and being a veteran, you don't have that issue, and we'll go over it in detail here shortly. But there are other options if you're not 100% disabled, where you can still get into the house cheap, or with no money out of pocket, but you'll still have those taxes that you have to pay every year. My name's Troy Tomlinson. I'm a real estate agent here in Houston, Texas, and my channel focuses on specifically moving to the eastern side of Houston, in the cities of Baytown, Texas, Mount Bellevue, Texas, Dayton, Crosby, Liberty. I kind of focus my business in that area as far as details that come from my channel, but I would love to help you purchase a home anywhere in the greater Houston area. And I've helped friends and family move anywhere from Corpus all the way to the coast of Louisiana. So let me know what I can do for you. Drop a comment down below. If you'd prefer somebody more specific to your area, I'd be happy to make the connection. I get phone calls from people just like you every single day, asking me questions about what they can do to get into a home and the different options that are available to them depending on their situation. And the situation we're going to review most today is you got decent credit, well, you have not terrible credit, and you don't have any money, right? So that's a problem sometimes, but for the most part, if you have good credit, I can help you get into a home with very little cash out of pocket. What are our options here? This video is aiming more towards pointing out options for veterans, right? And there's really the best option for veterans, which is if you're 100% disabled, you don't pay property taxes in Texas. I believe also in Florida, but Texas is better, slightly less hurricanes. So there's that. But in Texas, there's a sliding scale, right? So if you purchase a home in Texas, property taxes account for roughly half of the payment that you're going to be looking at every month. So to have no property taxes is just a phenomenal opportunity when it comes to purchasing a home. We just closed some properties with some of my disabled veterans, and this is 100% disabled. So there's a sliding scale, and I'm going to post a link to the direct resource because I believe that scale changes as far as disability rating to what you get. So it starts out as low as a 10% disability, and I believe you get a $5,000 reduction of property value, which means if you bought the house for $300,000, it would be taxed at $295 minus your other things like homestead exemption, and if you're over 65 or any of those other things that you might have, but you get an additional reduction of that $5,000, and then all the way up to if you're 100% disabled, you pay none. And it's a very drastic jump from that 99% to that 100%, to the tune of currently, as of the making of this video, 99%, I believe the reduction is $12,500, and then to the 100%, which on a $300,000 house, using the same method as before, is a reduction of $300,000 off the price of your home, right? You don't pay any property taxes. So that's the VA disability benefit, right? And then you also just have your VA loan, which is a loan that is only available to our veterans. You don't have to have ever lived in Texas or anything like that. If you were a veteran in the United States military, in any branch, you are eligible. I believe the form is called a DD-12. If you have your DD-12, which means you were honorably discharged or retired from the military or any of those things, if you are a veteran and you were not dishonorably discharged, you'll have a form called a DD-12, and that allows you to get your VA benefit to purchase a house. Now, I've talked to dozens and dozens of veterans who are, for some reason, under the impression that they only get one shot to use this, and that's just not the case. You get one VA loan at a time. And there's some stipulations to how often you can use it. Like, you couldn't be an investor and just like buy a house and use a VA and sell it and then get another one and then sell it. I think there's some time in between. But as far as for your residential living, if you buy a house, and this is the main issue, right? 19-year-old veteran gets out of the military and says, hey, I want, or let's call it 21. 21-year-old gets out of the military and says, I want to buy a house, but I don't want to waste my VA benefit buying my entry-level home. I want to use the VA loan for the big house in the future. So they'll not do that. I don't know who steers them down that road, but they will not take advantage of their VA benefits thinking that it's saving them something in the long run, but you don't, right? Sometimes VA is not the best option depending on your financial situation. And I'd connect you to my lender, and he does a very good job of checking all the options based on what you have available, funds and credit score and all that kind of fun stuff. I am, of course, not a lender, so I can't make you any sort of guarantee or offer, but he does a very good job at looking at your entire situation and making a recommendation for which direction you should go. But VA is definitely one to consider regardless of your age if you are a veteran. It's going to have generally a little bit cheaper rates than an FHA loan or a VA or a FHA loan or a conventional loan. And then really, it really does depend on your financial situation, exactly how much better it is. So definitely, just whether you're using me or somebody else, if you're a veteran, ask your lender what VA loan could work for me. Now, VA versus FHA, right? So a VA loan is a 0% down loan. FHA is the Federal Housing Authority. Could be very wrong on that. We're going to call it that. But the FHA, for some reason, a lot of people assume that is First Time Homeowners Association. I don't know what the A they think that is, but a lot of banks will advertise it as a first-time homebuyer's loan, stuff like that. So a lot of people will fall into that thought of, oh, it's an FHA loan. That's for first-time homebuyer. But you can get that loan whenever you want it, right? You do not have to be a first-time homebuyer. You do not have to do anything like that. I mean, it is for anyone who wants a loan for a house. And again, there are stipulations, right? You can only have one at a time. And you can only get one every, I believe it's 2 years. So if you buy a house and you live in it for 2 years and you sell it and you buy another house, you can get another FHA loan. You just can't have two FHA loans out at the same time. So do with that what you wish, but FHA loans, 3.5% down. You get into a house, right? Call it a $200,000 house. That's $7,000 for your down payment. Then we get the seller to cover the closing cost, which again, depending on your financial situation, will be somewhere in the ballpark of 2% to 5%. If you're talking about buying down points, which that'll be a whole different video that I'll get into, and I'm going to try and bring my lender in with me on that video because I'm not really allowed to talk about it. But points is basically where you prepay some of the interest and and it makes your overall interest rate lower, something along those lines. But if you can get the seller to pay for it, it's always a good idea. So we do that a lot right now just because interest rates are high. So it's good for somebody else to pay to bring them down. So VA loan, 0% down. We still got to get the seller to cover closing cost. FHA loan, 3.5% down. So you have to have that 3.5% down, but the seller can pay for your closing cost. And then we have DPA, right? That's an FHA loan, conventional loan. It wouldn't be necessary for a VA loan, but so for conventional and FHA, DPA stands for down payment assistance. So there's a little bit higher level of credit that you have to have, and there's a few classes online that you have to take throughout the process of getting your loan, and depending on which program you go through, as far as which loan, which down payment assistance program. One of the big ones that I have worked with in the past is TSHAC, which I'm not even going to guess what it stands for right now, but that's what my lender normally works with. So you do like a little online course, and then it says, yay, you get free money. And it's not free. It's a, loan, but it's forgivable if you stay for X amount of years, normally is how they make it work. So conventional loan, right? Those are anywhere from a 5 to, 99% down. Not that you do that, but you can qualify for, I believe, up to 5% for down payment assistance. So even with the conventional loan, you could get in with $0. With an FHA loan, of course, you would only need the 3.5. Still, in both of those situations, you will have closing cost, which we can negotiate with the seller and have them cover, right? And again, it's going to depend on the house, depend on the seller's situation, but for the most part, we are able to get those things negotiated in so that you can get into a house free, right? You got to pay for your inspections. Sometimes you have to pay for your appraisal up front. So an inspection is going to run you anything south of a $500,000 house. It's going to run you sub $500. If you're spending more than that, you're probably not worried about getting in for free anyway. But the inspections get a little bit more expensive as the houses get bigger. So we covered FHA loans. I talked a little bit about conventional, down payment assistance, VA loans, right? All fantastic things. And then last but not least is our USDA loans, right? And USDA loans are going to be a map specific, and I'm going to drop the link below so that you can use that resource to see which areas are USDA specific. And then of course we double check once you're ready to talk to me about it. But USDA is the United States Department of Agriculture. So it's going to be mostly rural areas, a lot of space on the east side of Houston does qualify. Baytown proper does not, but like the north side of Baytown, north of I-10, a lot of it does. But Dayton, Crosby, Old River, which is north of Mont Belvieu, those are all areas that are, for the most part, qualified. So definitely something to check out. Again, that's a 0% down, so we still got to get those closing costs covered. And then that's all the different loan programs, right? So we've got USDA, which again, 0% down, get the closing costs covered by the seller. We've got VA, 0% down, have to be a veteran, still have to get the closing costs covered from the seller. We've got FHA, 3.5% down payment assistance programs are available if you have slightly better credit. If you're looking to buy a house with no money and you have okay credit and you're a veteran or you're not a veteran, right? Veterans just have a few extra options. But buying a house with no money out of pocket is definitely possible. We're looking for homes that have maybe sat for a little while, or for sellers that are also veterans who might be more likely to love you for that and help you out. So because they are willing to do a little bit more for a fellow veteran. Not that it's taking advantage or anything, but it's America. People like our veterans. That's why Texas has great options for them. I, of course, am not a veteran, but I definitely am very grateful for all the sacrifice that our veterans here give for us. I've helped probably close to 24 veterans. I think 6 of them are at the 100% disabled level, and they are just able to capitalize so well for that sacrifice that they gave by moving to Texas as opposed to moving to a different state. So I definitely recommend, if you're a veteran, right, make your move to Texas. Take advantage of basically free money, right? If you're looking at a $2,600 payment in any other state, you'd be looking at a $1,300 payment in Texas, right? Well, taxes are different everywhere, but the taxes that you normally pay, right, they say as far as taxes are concerned, you are looking at the most taxes on your property. So if you're a veteran and you're 100% disabled, you don't have that. So I go buy a house and the payment's $2,600. Your payment as a veteran is going to look way closer to $1,300. So that's crazy. And you deserve it. So get here, take advantage of it. And give me a call because I'd love to help. And then, of course, if you're not a veteran, there's still all those other great options. Veterans, make sure not to just blindly take the VA loan because you think that you need to, but get with a lender that says, hey, here's your options. Because if you're 100% disabled and you do a USDA loan, a VA loan, FHA loan, conventional loan, all of those options, you still can take advantage of the disability situation. You do not have to do a VA loan to qualify for your disability relief, whatever they call it. So get here, give me a call. If you have specific questions about how it works, feel free to leave a comment down below. Give me a call. There's a link somewhere, probably about 15 different places that you can click and hop on a video call with me so I can look at your specific situation. I kind of go over basic numbers, and then I'll get you connected with my lender who can do the same thing, but his numbers mean a little bit more because he has a calculator that does everything for him. So let's get connected. I would love to help you make a move to Texas, specifically, again, focusing on the east side of Houston, but I'll help you move wherever you want to go. But thanks so much for hanging out with me, and check out some of my other videos, and yeah, let's move to Texas.